Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Resilient with your host, me, Wintertooth100. And in today's episode, we're going to start off right where we left off in the last episode. I have extended the signal so that thing works pretty well, but there is a glaring flaw in it. We're going to fix that right away. But before we get started, be sure to check out the links in the description below. Check out the other members on this server. You can see the videos that they upload as well. There are 4 other members for a total of 5 perspectives. Be sure to give them a look, a like, and a subscribe, and hit that notification bell, especially for me, so you know when my videos come out, which is every day. Alright, so in the last episode, I built an observer clock. Not your typical one. I know there is a thing called an observer clock. It's not that, but we built one that was based around the growth of kelp, and I was going to AFK here, but there is an inherent problem with that. Let's see if I can get the conduit power real quick so I can, so we can see just a little bit. There's a little problem with that. If we hit F3 and we look at on the right hand side under target block, it says Minecraft kelp age 5. You'll see that on the right hand side there. At any point, the problem with this is at any point when that thing grows, any stage of its growth, it can say it's at stage, it can say it's age 25, and if that happens, it will stop growing. It's just random when it will be there, which makes this an unreliable clock, because it basically means it can grow one more stage and stop growing, and that clock will not work anymore. So we can't use this, it's not going to work. Instead, we're going to close this. We are going to make an etho clock at the top, and we're just going to fill it to the brim, and we're just going to use more observers. I brought more observers with me. I mean, I've crafted a lot of observers. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, look at all of the... I do not recommend building this, because that is expensive. I mean, I probably still need to go to bed, but I'm so excited about getting this episode started that I decided, you know what, we're just going to pull a double all day or whatever. No big deal. And this is going to activate it again. So we should see some action happening. Probably get real laggy. I haven't been in the area, so there shouldn't be... Yeah, you can see it moving, barely. There shouldn't be too much lag because I haven't been over here. Like I said, I did not AFK because I did not see the point in AFKing when I knew that the clock could just break on the first go, and I would never get to we'd never get to harvest anything. So you can actually follow the lights. Yep, you see them go on this side, and we'll see them come back on this side. So I think that's kind of neat. We can actually observe the delay and see we're still working on it, and now all the kelp is rising to the surface. So we know we got the timing pretty good, and I think that means it's on its way back this way. Nope, there's one more line. There it goes. And it's going to come back over this way. And now it's going to send this off. So the delay is really good, regardless of how we activate it. So yeah, we can just throw an etho clock on here. The only thing the etho clock is going to limit is how much kelp is going to be able to grow in the first place. And you can see this isn't a 100% farm. It's not going to catch all of it, but it catches a really good chunk of it. So I'm really happy with that. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to grab a few of these building blocks over here, and we're just going to bring that up out of the water, build a platform, and create an etho clock. So let me do that real quick. Alright, that didn't take too long to set up. Basically, I just brought the line straight up and have the observer observing this piece of redstone, and this thing is rocking 5 full stacks of smooth stone, and we're getting some lag, so we know it's working a little bit. But it got activated a bunch of times setting this up, so I expect it to be just a little laggy for a moment. But because this is set up, I can go ahead and AFK down here now. I believe all I have to do is sit down here next to the guardians and we should be within activation range of it. And so yeah, let me go ahead and test this for a few hours. There should have been like half of one of those double chests already full from the first couple experiments that we did or whatever. But yeah, we should be able to just sit here for a few hours and see how much we get. So let me do that. Okay, so after the fact, I got to AFK here. I've probably been in here for almost a half an hour. I kept getting kicked from the server, and I think it was a combination of... Well, there's a couple of things going on. First, let's... Oh, yeah, that's right, I turned my sounds off because the Guardians. Let me turn my sounds back on. There we go. So there's a couple of things. One, I think because I wasn't interacting with the Guardians, they were just dying there. That was a part of adding to my laggy problem and getting me kicked from the server. And the other thing was, you'll see, I did some changes. I think there was a combination of between the entities of the Guardians falling plus the entity of these things just sitting around on that side. And also, the etho clock was so close to it that every time this top machine finally made it back just in time to be activated again. So it was non-stop back and forth. And so I had to do several edits. I did some tests to see how far that signal would go with 5 full stacks. 5 full stacks will take us exactly 14 redstone in length for power. And so now we have it set up, it's exactly 14. So once that thing reaches its peak, it'll be just in time for this to activate, and then it'll almost immediately deactivate that last one. And so that double activation won't mean anything because the bottom, I guess it'd be quadruple activation technically, because it'll detect on and off, right? On off, on off. Oh, I forget. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The machine will detect the first activation and take off. So a million activations after that, as long as it's still on its path, that'll never affect anything. So, and you see this just got activated, so our machine should be running now. There it goes. Again, you can barely see it in the replay. You couldn't see it at all. But to combat the entities, I had to make another collection zone on this side. Not a problem. We kind of wanted to do that anyway. And then to further help it, I think I'm still too close, but I moved the AFK spot to this side on the back of it. But I think I'm still, even though I can't physically see them, I think they're still getting loaded in and still counting against us. So, might change the AFK spot. But otherwise, this thing's running like a champ. We should see the top gets activated in a moment now. Probably see a lot of lag. And we're gonna grab... This has been going great. This side's been awesome. But we knew that this side was gonna have some stuff in it from last episode's experiments. Here it goes. And this side's just doing okay. This side has, it gets whatever's kind of left after it retreats back over here. And it's only been up for like the last half an hour. So yeah, we don't expect pretty much hardly anything on this side to be collecting. But let me get my shulker boxes out. Let's try to pack up as much of this as we can. We're going to take it back to the smelter and get it all smelted up so we can work on the castle some more. So I had a comment on one of my videos asking if I would do a tutorial on how I made my smelting system. And in light of that, I thought it was a good opportunity to maybe pop into a test world and try out a few different methods for that smelting system, because it's not perfect and it needs some work. It needs to be fixed because it doesn't do every row at the same time, and so therefore it's still really slow. And so I hopped into another world thinking, oh, I'll work some kind of system out and we'll fix it. And that didn't happen. I got into another world and I tried and I tried and I tried, and I couldn't get something that I liked to work. So instead of tearing the old one out and building in this new one, I thought we would come over here, because that island over there that we're on, that's gonna go. It's gonna be totally submerged and everything over there is gonna have to get moved. So instead of building a system over there and then having to later tear it out, I thought we would just steal this hole that Joe started and turn this little area right here under. This will be the city eventually, or the little village outside of the castle. We'll convert this little hole down here into our new hidey hole and build the new super smelting system over there. I got a box full of redstone stuff, hoppers and chests and all that fun stuff. And well, I'm gonna have to clear this out, so I should probably actually go grab that beacon And yeah, we're just gonna start moving hidey hole just a little bit at a time, and I thought we'd start with the super smelting system. Alright guys, so we're gonna have to do a little like fence work around here like with the other place, because this place gets so swarmed with mobs at night, it's ridiculous. But we got our beacon up, and that was gonna come try to fight me in the daytime. We got our beacon up, and I have used it. I have taken the original hole that Joe dug when we were working on this project, so I'm gonna have to tear this down too. But I've done a little work just on the entrance, and I've dug out the rest of it. Well, at least I think the rest of it. So we're gonna walk in, and we can either go left, right, or forward. If we go immediately right, this is going to be our new storage system, and there's nothing on the other side of that wall, so we can actually keep extending this as we need more storage. But I left some pillars in so we get an idea of where the logs are going to be, and it's going to be the same 3x3 of chests, and it's going to be on both sides. And yeah, so we got that worked out. Then we come to this side, and I wasn't sure what we're going to do over here, and I'm thinking we just do some more like some like fun roleplay stuff, and this will be like our war room. We can put a big table here. Of course we can raise the ceilings so it doesn't feel so short and so flat. But we can have like a war room, big old table here, some tall chairs, and on the back wall we can have a map of our castle area when it is complete. Continuing down this way, if we take a left right here, there'll be a doorway right in here, and this will be our bedroom. We finally are going to have our own bedroom. Yay! And if we go forward right here, this is going to be immediately right into the enchanting section, so the enchanting section is going to be straight ahead here. As for the item destruction thing that we have, I figured we'd just put it at the end of this hallway, possibly, or maybe dedicate one of these, like this first slot, to the item destruction. And yeah, we'll be able to keep it, you know, hidden and close to the place that we want it. But if we take a right down here, across from where the bedroom is, we got a bedroom right here. So if we come across right here, we can keep going that way. That is perfectly possible to go that way. But this is where we're going to have our super smelter. So I've put out a large space for it. It's 8 blocks in height, so it'll be parts of it will be hugging the ceiling, and parts on the bottom will be hugging the bottom. So it's quite large. But we come down here, and it will be, I'm thinking we leave ourselves like 3 blocks space, and we'll have to do some counting. Of course, I don't have any blocks in me, so we'll just use these guys. It needs to be 16 blocks deep. Actually, a little longer than that. Let's see, if it starts here, then it's gonna go, I believe it's 2 blocks in space before we get to the furnaces. Then it's 16 furnaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep, so we still need to take it back that way a bit. And then it's 2 more blocks space. So I need to go 5 blocks deeper in that direction, which I believe is the exact distance that these things will mine with the instant mine. So if we just carve this out real quick, we can confirm our count. So we have 13, 14, 15, 16, and then 2 blocks of space for the redstone that needs to be back here. So let me finish carving this out, and we'll build one of these, and we'll talk about it real quick. Brief update before we continue on the super smelter. I didn't have the materials, and I didn't want to craft anymore, so just showing that we tore this whole thing out so we could get all of our hoppers back, because we need so many hoppers. Alright, okay, gonna go finish it now. And we finally have all the stuff over here that we need, and we mostly have one set up. I'm gonna have to set them all up before we get to run it and try it out. But basically, we have 4 rows. They are spaced 4 blocks apart each. You need 2 extra rows on this side and 1 extra row on this side from the actual furnaces. So we got a line of furnaces. I told you the wrong number. It's not 16 furnaces, it's 15 furnaces. 16 is too far. Your redstone signal won't go 16, it'll only go 15. And additionally, one of these hoppers, or not hoppers, but one of these furnaces in the middle, for whatever reason, won't activate with the rest of them. So technically it's only 14 of them, but you don't want to put 14 in because then you're only going to get 13 to run. So you put all 15 in and you'll get 14 to run, and we'll do it for all of them. So in total we have, what is that, 48? 14, 28, oh no, 28 times 2, so 56. So we have 56 things going all at once. So we have a line of hoppers on the bottom that pulls out our goodies. So this is our goodie chest, and we can actually grab the booty diamond, and we can place this on, stick the booty in there. Now we know this is booty. Alright, this is the 4th time I'm trying this. My baby keeps crying in the background. I apologize. So if it's a little jump cutty here, that's why I keep cutting it, so you guys don't have to hear him cry. But we have a line of hoppers running into the backs of each of the furnaces. This is where all of the coal goes, and in the top, that's where the stuff we want to smelt goes. And they run all the way across, and we'll take them all the way to the back, and we're going to run a comparator out of the backs of both of the lines of hoppers that are running the materials all the way through, not the hoppers that are actually putting it into the furnace. That's important. We're not taking a signal from the hoppers putting it into the furnace. We're taking a signal from the ones that are running it to the hoppers that put it into the furnace. So each one of these is separate. They're individual, even though they're right next to each other. We take the comparator takes a signal. We'll turn off that torch, which will turn off this line, unlocking the hoppers. That will allow, and these are locking the bottom hoppers. This line is actually locking the hoppers that go to the furnace. Okay, trying to be clear. But it'll temporarily unlock, both of them will unlock at the same time, which will put one fuel into it and one thing that needs to be burned. And they'll essentially just keep clicking on and off, putting an equal number of fuel and burnable stuff into the furnaces at the same time, because the signal won't turn off until this far end hopper is detected to have had an item in it. And since these are all locked, they can't take an item from this upper row until the signal dies. So that's how that works. Let me set up the rest of it and we can get these lines all worked out and give it a go. Alright guys, I want you to take a quick guess. What resource did I struggle to come up with the most for this particular super smelter? I'll give you a moment. Think about it. Think about what goes into a super smelter. Furnaces, hoppers, a little bit of redstone. What did I run out of the most? You're probably wrong. I ran out of wood so many times. You know, wood, the chests. The chests for the hoppers killed me. I had to go back to my place like 10 times. That's an exaggeration. But just to get wood, I'm almost out of iron again, but you know, I have plenty of iron for it. Just kept running out of wood for the chests that are a part of the hoppers. But they are all set up now. It looks more complicated than it really is. It really is just a string of hoppers, a couple strings of them actually. So we got all of our hoppers running to all of the furnaces, and they go up to the top, and at the top there, if we can get a better look at it, you see we got a couple of minecarts. I might still need to nudge those to make sure we're getting all 4 activations. So we're not totally done because those could possibly need to be shifted around just a little bit. But what's supposed to happen is those are 2 hopper minecarts. They're going to pull out of that chest, and each minecart is supposed to be able to divide between these 2 lines, and then the other one gets the other 2 lines for a total of 4 strings. And that's why their position is so important, because both of these sets of hoppers need to pull from each minecart hopper. And the same is true on the other side. The top side over there is the stuff we want to smelt, and this other side over here is the fuel. And for our convenience, instead of having to come to this side and jump and try to reach that chest, I've created water elevators with the new bubble vaders. And so you put your fuel in this one, it's going to go over here, it's going to get dispensed up and put into that chest where it's going to get pulled out. Same with the fuel, it's going to go to this side, going to get launched up, it's going to get divided out. And as things are smelted, they're going to come out, they're going to follow this line down here, and they're going to take this bubble elevator up, and they're going to come out to our booty chest. I have not tried this yet, I have no idea if this is going to work. So yeah, we'll give it a quick go, and then we'll do our send-off regardless of how this turns out. Alright, I had to turn my block sounds way down because these things are just constant ticking. But these 2 emptied really fast, so that was pretty cool. Now we're just on this one. And yep, it's pretty much just a constant stream. There's a couple little laggy spots there briefly, and that's because I had a few blocks that somehow made it into when I was breaking them out or placing them or whatever, they would end up in the hoppers and end up randomly inside one of these things. And so I had to go through and double check all of them. So there's a little bit of gap, but that'll go away because once this is done, of course, we just take it out, and when we want to use it again, we just put more stuff in it, and we should be good to go. So it's actually pretty great. We got all 4 rows are running, and this is way better than the last one. So I am quite happy with this. It is the ugliest thing ever. So I'm thinking what's going to end up happening is I'm going to end up putting walls up along this section and another wall on the other side, maybe with like a maintenance hatch, so we just be able to come down here and so we can check on things whenever something seems to be broken. But otherwise, probably not going to end up decorating the rest of this. We're just gonna decorate this front little bit and call that good, because we have a whole new base that we need to decorate. Oh yeah, brand new base time. So I think that's going to be it for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you liked, subscribe if you haven't, share with your friends, hit that notification bell. Oh, that's right, I changed it up on you. Changed it up. That notification bell, it's super important. And I will see you guys in the next one.